I wanted to really welcome you all here for Email Marketing 101. This is a really powerful workshop as part of a series, and it's really designed to help you get going with your emails. So if you've been thinking, I'm not sure what to do with emails, or what do I need to get going, what do I need to do, this is the workshop for you. This workshop, I need to say, is autoresponder agnostic, in that I am not showing you how to use a specific autoresponder, but I'm showing you what you would need to do with whatever autoresponder that you're using. I am going to give you a walkthrough of ActiveCampaign at the end, because that's the autoresponder that I use and love. So I just wanted to welcome you here, and really just wanted to step through what we're going to be talking about today. So what the things that I'm going to be covering with you are: why do we do email marketing, when should we do it, and how should we do it. So it's really designed to give you a very solid introduction to email marketing, so that once you've watched this class, you'll be able to say, yep, I know what to do, and I can go and start doing it. So firstly, why are we doing it? Well, we email so that we can connect with our audience, and that's a really important thing for you to be doing, to be building a relationship with your audience and your list. And I know that we're all on social platforms today, and we're building our relationships there, but I do see email marketing as a really important, it's really sealing up a business risk for you, because if we had a situation where perhaps Facebook no longer was available to us, or our group was no longer available to us, then what would we do? Would we have a list of people that we could contact, and would they be used to interacting with us on email? So it really is important that you can own your own list. And in fact, this is one of the things we actually can own in an online business. And a list is very valuable. And there are various statistics that are sort of bandied around the value of people on your list. I've heard, someone on your list is worth at least $1. They're worth $10. You look at someone on your list as a lifetime member, rather than just someone that's there for a short time. You really need to think about having a lifetime journey with them. So it's that money is, you'll hear that term, the money is in the list, from a lot of people. There is money in it, provided you nurture it properly, would be what I would say. And it gives you these long-term opportunities. The other interesting thing is that as your business grows, a bigger email list, when you can say, yes, I've got 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people on my list, you suddenly become very attractive to other people who might want to partner with you or joint venture with you. Now, if you're starting out, you might think, oh, that could take me a while to get there. Believe me, if you've got a good email opt-in and you are really good at engaging your list, you can get that list to that size, and it is a really powerful thing to do for your business. So there are all of our reasons in terms of why we would do email marketing. So when do we do it? And my advice is as soon as possible. So as you're building your business, as you're building your visibility, if you can put this in place as soon as you possibly can, you are basically using the factor of time. So if you've been in business for a year and you've been building visibility online, but you haven't got an email list, there's basically, that's a year that you don't have in terms of building the list. So get onto it as soon as you possibly can. And what you'll find with you might be thinking, well, I don't know what to do. Well, today we'll show you what to do, but you might be thinking about, well, what content should I be emailing to people? This content that you're going to email is actually going to be repurposed from other content you might have developed for your social platforms or your blog or your videos or whatever. You don't need to be generating a whole lot of new content. You just need to have a great list in place. You need to have a nurturing strategy in place, so that when you have something new to say elsewhere, you can just quickly flick it to your email list. And it's as simple as that. It can become a very automatic process for you, because it is your most valuable business property online, because you can own it. So I think I've really covered that. Sort of start ASAP, which is why you're here today. So how do we do it? And what I'd like to do now is just step through with you the process of how to do email marketing. Now, this is an Email 101 course. It's the basics, but it's designed to set you up with a very strong foundation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through the 4 stages of my email marketing strategy. I'm going to talk about things from a content perspective, and I'm also going to talk about things from a technology perspective. So I'm going to give you an indication and tell you what should be happening when in your email autoresponder. And I've found this is a really useful thing for you to understand the two at once. And when it comes to looking at your email autoresponder, you can refer back to this class and go, okay, yep, okay, I now see, I now understand what Jen meant when she talked about tagging and things like that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of technology and terminology today. I'm not going to overwhelm you, but I'm just going to give you the basics so you can be really clear about what it is that you need to do. So with our email marketing, is there a strategy? And I would say to you, absolutely, yes, there is. And it's a 4-stage strategy. So our first stage is to entice people to come onto our list. Our second stage is to start building a relationship with them and to be relating to them. Our third stage is to be nurturing people on our list. And then our fourth stage is to be doing some selling. So notice the order of that. We are not getting people into our list and going, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. We are actually building a relationship, because email marketing is it's just like every other relationship. And in fact, it can take a little bit longer to build if we're sort of relying on the written word only, if we're not doing much video inside our emails. And also, people might not always receive every email that you get. So I'd like you to really be aware that every email you send out that person may not open, because they're busy. They've probably got lots of emails coming into their inbox. So you need to make sure that you're emailing regularly so that they are hearing from you. And you can also, in your email autoresponder, you should look at the opportunity to resend a campaign. So you might have an email that's gone out and you might leave it for 24 hours, and then you can just press a button to resend to those contacts who haven't opened. And that's certainly a beautiful little tool on Active Campaign that I really love. So I can just go into my email campaign, hit that, and then away I go. So our first stage is enticing. So in this stage, what content are we developing? Well, what we're doing here is we're going to be offering free value via an opt-in, which is going to be covered in another workshop later on in this workshop series. It was too much to cover today for this workshop, so I'm devoting a full workshop to creating your opt-in. But an opt-in is that free item that you get, that you see online, you think, wow, I'd like that. And then in exchange for that free item, you're giving someone your name and your email address. I'm sure you have done that already. And now what we want you to do is to create one for yourself for your email list. Now, if you'd like to start out and you don't want to wait specifically for that opt-in class, one of the things that sort of things you can do as opt-ins are, they can be things like free checklists, can be a free quiz, could be perhaps a free training, like an audio training, and perhaps an audio download like a meditation. It could be a short video training. It could be a workbook or a guide. I don't recommend doing ebooks simply because that they are a bit old hat, and people do feel like, oh, I don't think I've really got the time to read an ebook, but they might have the time to go through a workbook or a guide if there's something that you've offered there. So those opt-ins are really important. I do recommend to keep your opt-ins fresh and perhaps to be developing different ones to test how they go. I've had a particularly successful opt-in that just keeps working for me, so I haven't taken it out of rotation. But I am thinking in the next couple of months that it does probably need to come out of rotation and something else will go in its place. If you have something like a Facebook group, or you're making offers into other people's Facebook groups, if you don't have your own Facebook group, then you might want to have a couple of different opt-ins that you actually rotate so that people aren't seeing the same message from you all the time. They're seeing different things and they're getting different, awareness of what it is that you offer. So, and please do offer that opt-in everywhere on all platforms and on all channels. So everywhere you are, make sure that your opt-in is included. And I would say to you here, when you're starting out, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's better for us to get something in place that is appealing to your audience, that they're looking for, and that you can then actually get them onto your email list. So it just needs to solve this problem or be something your community is asking for or responding to. So if you look in things like Facebook groups, see what sort of questions people are asking, you might see a question, you might say, okay, yes, I could develop an opt-in that solves that problem. So what are we doing with the technology at this point? This is the question. So the first thing is you need to make your opt-in visible on your Facebook page banner, in your social profiles, at the top of your web page, and on the right-hand sidebar, or perhaps on your blog. So you need to make sure that your opt-in is really what we call above the fold. And I'm getting into a bit of terminology here, so I'll just explain each piece. So above the fold is the piece of the website that is seen before you have to scroll. So it's basically the piece of your website that's seen on your main screen, be it whether or not you're on a laptop or whether or not you're on a desktop. So we want to see that there. Now, a lot of people are also accessing our information on their mobile devices. So if you've got a website, it's really important to have an opt-in option at the top of the web page so that that's going to load as soon as people see that, because we want people to come in and actually use that. I'm going to be talking more about opt-ins later in that workshop, so I won't go into too much detail here, other than to say it needs to be visible. And you will then fulfill that opt-in or offer via a landing page. And I'm going to explain that more in the opt-in workshop, a thank you page, and then an email that comes with a download. So people will basically, you'll advertise your opt-in on the website, and then people will click through. That will take them to a page that basically says, this is what you're going to get. Here's your name and your email. Put your name and your email address in here. And then you press register, and then a thank you page will pop up saying thanks for your request, an email is on its way. And you can then this is when your email sequence comes in, because then you do an email with a download. And I'm going to share with you in the intro email sequence later on. I'm going to share that with you, exactly how that email would look. So you'll get that as a first one. Now, what is also going to happen in your email autoresponder at this stage is that they are going to come into what's called a list on your email autoresponder, which you've created beforehand. So the list would read, it could be, opt-in February 18, and that could be the list name. I would probably call it, opt-in, whatever the topic of the opt-in. So it could be opt-in, puppy training tips. I'm really into dogs, so I'll give you a couple of examples along those lines. But so it could be, opt-in puppy training tips. And you know that list then has identified those people as coming in from that opt-in. They've arrived in your list because of that opt-in. And then what you do is you then tag them in your list as a lead from that opt-in. So if they're on that list, they're there, and it could just be lead puppy tips. And then you know that they are a lead in your business. They're not yet a customer, but they're a lead. So they've now identified themselves as that. So that's what you would do in your email autoresponder at that time. So our next stage in our strategy is then to start building a relationship with the people on our mailing list. So this is where your content comes in, and this is where you need to be building that relationship from the very first email. And in that first email, you'll deliver what you promised. So click here for your free download or bonus or gift or whatever it is. Show them in that email how your free download or offer solves their problem. So reinforce the fact that you've solved that problem straight away. Focus on your customer and their needs, and then welcome them to your community and explain how you're going to be communicating. Now, at the end of the session, I will walk through this intro email sequence with you so you can see how that email could look. What I do want to say now with the intro email sequence is that I'm giving you a template, effectively what's called a swipe file. It's another bit of terminology, but basically a file that you can swipe from for your own emails. But I really want to reinforce that it's really important that you use your own language and your own style when you communicate with people. So just use this swipe file as a guide, and know that it's one that I've refined over time, but it's going to give you a guide only. I really want to encourage you to put your own spin on everything and use your own language and your own terminology. I'll talk a bit more about that later, but I just wanted to highlight the importance of using that file. And then explain that there is more coming in this email. So they'll be receiving emails from you very regularly. Now, at the technology stage, your customer has entered what's called an automation or an indoctrination sequence, which is a series of emails that fires off in your autoresponder over a series of time, over a period of time. And you can decide on the timing of that. It could be every day over a week, or every few days over a week. It could be every day for 3 days. And we can talk a bit more about that when we get there. Then once you've done that properly, and once you're comfortable with those email sequences, you can pretty much set and forget that until you change something in your business. The other thing that I would also say, that with that indoctrination sequence, and I've put this in the swipe file, at the end of that sequence, once they've received the 3 or 4 emails from you, and in this sequence I'm sharing with you a 4 email sequence, make sure that you then subscribe people from that list, so your opt-in list, into your regular email list, whatever you're going to call that list. So for me, I just call that list weekly blog post. And so what that means is those people are now coming to my regular emails, where I will send things like blogs, updates on free workshops I'm doing, offers that I'm doing, and so on. So that makes sure that they get into your main mailing list. I guess I've already covered this in terms of you're going to build this relationship over this indoctrination sequence. It could be 3 to 7 emails dripped out over for as long as 30 days. Some people recommend 45 days. I'd be saying within 30 days. And they're really designed for your customer to get to know you and the value that you offer. So it does need to offer, these emails need to offer some value, so blogs or freebies, and make you relatable in some way. So tell your story or explain some of your journey. And imagine that you're having coffee with someone. What is it that you would like to tell them about how you can help them and add value to their lives? And this is, I guess, the key thing here I'd like to say is that these emails always need to be focused on what does my audience want to hear from me, rather than all being about me, because otherwise they're going to tune out. The other thing is to be very consistent and write in the language and style of your audience. So this is where the audience research piece is really, really important for you to understand who your audience is and what makes them tick. And once you understand that through, your research processes, you'll be able to bring that here into this process. And they have to really be the hero of all of your communication. It's really, really important. So I think that's the thing. Everything when we're working online, it's all about them, and it's only about us a little bit, just so that people can get to know us, can see us as relatable, real human beings who do make mistakes and who are real people just like them. So it's really important that that we're always making them the hero, but we do share some of ourselves as well. And it's about finding that balance. But I always say 80% hero of the customer, or even 85% about the customer, 15% about yourself. And that is a nice balance. And when you're actually doing your things like your Facebook Lives or other ways that you're getting to know your customers, or perhaps video blogs that you're sending to your customers, they'll get to know you through osmosis, through how you present yourself on video and how you present yourself in your emails and in your documents and so on. Now, technology. So from the technology perspective, your customer is in this indoctrination sequence now. There's not a lot we need to do other than just being aware of the timing of when they're receiving things. And I've said here, I've sort of covered this earlier, after email 2 or 3, you might want to tag them to enter your regular distribution list. I wouldn't do it straight up. I would let them get 2 or 3 emails from you before they go into your regular distribution list. Looks like I've got a duplicated slide here, so we'll just whip through that. So our next stage then is nurturing our clients. So we've got them, basically they've come through, they've got the opt-in, they've received the indoctrination sequence. What do we do next? Well, we need to show up consistently and regularly, and you build trust through showing up consistently. And I know, I'll be clear, in times in my business, I've been very up and down with this. So it's something that I'm very much more into myself in terms of I need to be regularly communicating with my audience. So this is about really continuing to nurture and build the relationship in a style and time that's relatable to them. So just decide on a schedule that works for you. So it could be a weekly, fortnightly, could be 3. I wouldn't go any more than wouldn't leave it any more than 3 weeks if you can. And then just offer that value-based content. So sharing behind the scenes, continue to offer your freebies. If you're doing new opt-ins or new free things, then do that. Sharing behind the scenes is really useful, a way for them to get to know you. So it could be a behind the scenes thing that you're doing in your business. So it could be preparing something for sale. It could be something that you're working on. People, I know that I've subscribed very avidly. I'm a bit of a weekend painter and drawer. So I subscribe to artists' emails and so on. I love to see when they're sharing with me a behind the scenes video of how they're doing something and so on. So again, it's something that will sort of take people behind the veil to see what it is that you're doing. You would obviously also be sharing your blogs. So introduce your blog in the email and then encourage them to click through to read that. Again, each of these emails, they don't have to be long. In fact, I like shorter the better, because then people get the experience of me that I'm not going to make them read a long-winded email. I'm actually just going to say, here I am, here's some information that I think is of value for you, and then let's go ahead and click through to that, or for you to get access to that. The other thing too is to be thinking about the balance again. So it's 80% give, 20% ask. So this is where you're adding a lot of value in your emails, and then you're developing this you're nurturing now to then move to the next stage, which is selling. The other thing with have call to actions in every single email. So they're in the habit of doing something when they receive an email from you, so that they're not just going to do anything. So from a technology perspective, your customer should now be on your regular distribution list, so whatever it's called, weekly blog posts. You may also be starting to think about creating new automations or sequences to suit a promotion, an event, or a course you might be running. And you just need to make sure that those sequences are well explained and they're giving the right information to people through that sequence. And you may be starting to segment your list now. So you might be if you've had someone perhaps even buy from you, you might then put the customer label on them, or you might be starting to segment your list based on the opt-ins that they're getting from you. You might do 2 opt-ins perhaps in slightly different areas, and you might be testing. You might say, okay, is my audience more interested in X problem or Y problem? So you'll be segmenting your list in that way. So know that the technology can assist you with that. Now, our final step in the strategy is to start selling and serving our audience through selling to them. So this is actually important. A lot of people have an email list and then never actually think to sell to it. And then some people can oversell. So what we want to do is we want 80% nurturing and then 20% on the sales. So we want to really do that. And this is where you can start to make money from your list and start to bring people into what you're doing. So, for example, you may be quite active on Facebook. You might have a Facebook group or a good Facebook page, but you may be able to bring people from your email list into that interaction with you. And that's something that certainly worked for me. So what you want to do here is you're now going to you might say, okay, I'm wanting to promote a new course. So now you're going to map out a new sequence leading to that sale. So it needs to be very logical. And you'll be able to use my sequence builder template that you get as a part of this course to do this. So, and we'll show you how to map out each step. So what you want to do when you're wanting to encourage people to buy something from you, you want to highlight and agitate the problem that they're experiencing. So this sequence will talk about, you may be experiencing problems with X in your world. Perhaps, like, let's use a puppy example. You may be experiencing some problems with understanding what is best to feed your new puppy. And so what you'll do there is just discuss that problem and start to share information about that. Then you'll move through the sequence and start offering elements to the solution. So it could be a tip a day for a couple of days. And then you would then step into demonstrating how your bigger product or service is going to solve that. So you see, we're starting off highlighting the problem, still offering some value in those next couple of emails, and then demonstrating how your product will solve it. In this sequence too, it's really valuable to be sharing video and sharing testimonials, either video or written, of successes with your product or service. So people do buy from recommendations, so it's really important to include those in this sequence. In terms of your technology here, you're going to be creating a new automation to suit this promotion or product that you're selling. And you may actually look at your list and you might decide, okay, I'd like to actually segment my list to actually sell this program to. So you might segment your list from the perspective of age, or gender. Or it could be age and gender. It could be based on location. It could be based on the things that they've engaged with or they've opted in with before on your email list. So it's going to be a whole range of things here. So it'll just be determined by what you're doing, but you will be probably segmenting here at this point. You can also, if you're starting out, you can also just send that sequence out to everybody and see who's interested. And then you'll start being able to build a picture of who is interested in your list about certain things, and you can start then developing a list that supports that. So in terms of this sequence for the sales process, just a couple more comments on here. You do need to build in, and this is really more part of a sales strategy, but you do need to have some emails that focus on scarcity and limitation in some way. So it could be this offer is only available until X date. There's only 10 spots available. You want to be building in this notion of scarcity here, so people can see, yes, there's something actually that I do need to get, and I do want it, and I'd like to get it now. Now, this, for purpose-driven entrepreneurs, this notion of using these tools you may not feel so comfortable, but what I will say to you is that as human beings, we do work on the basis of scarcity. We do make buying decisions based on times running out. based on availability of particular things. Now, and if you think about your own behaviour, you'll think about how you've done this before, even perhaps in the grocery store or with other online shopping experiences that you might have had. Now, as a purpose-driven entrepreneur, this is, I guess, where I really wanted to talk with you about this notion of serving your audience. If you have been able to shift your mindset from really selling to your audience to really thinking about serving them and their need and what is it they need most of all, and if you're very clear on that, and if you feel in complete integrity with the service you're providing, you know that you can solve that problem for them, then what we want to do is we want to just encourage people to take that decision to work with us. This will not feel good if you don't feel in integrity with what you're sharing. So that will be, if you're feeling in integrity and you know, yes, I can absolutely guarantee what I'm offering. In fact, I'd be happy to put a 60-day guarantee on it. Then that's something that your audience really needs. And then what we're doing here is we're just using a couple of tools to encourage people to buy with us so that they can solve that problem more quickly and then move on with their lives. The other thing that's actually also very useful to do at this part of the sales process is to do a reminder on what's called cart abandon. Now, this is a more advanced technique, but what we do here is, and you may have experienced this yourself, but what we're doing here is someone may have gone onto your shopping cart to actually purchase in some way, but they may not have completed that transaction. Now, more sophisticated email autoresponders will then send you a note to say, okay, we'll send a note we'll send a note back to the email autoresponder and say, okay, this person they've started on the checklist, but they haven't completed. Let's send another email to remind them that their shopping cart is open. And you may have experienced this. I've experienced it, I've actually really appreciated it, because I actually have been distracted by something. I thought, sometimes I'm buying something and I think, I might go and talk to my husband about that, or I just want to check something about it before I buy. And then life happens and lots of other things happen and I'm called on by someone to do something, and then I don't go back to that cart. So this email is a nice little reminder to that. It's a more advanced strategy. You don't need to worry about it today, but I just would like to know for you to know that the power of the autoresponders out there is that you can do things like this. The other thing that you can do when you're selling is you can also provide an order bump, what's called an order bump. So this is where perhaps you might be offering a particular program or service, and then you might then offer as an extra for that at that time of sale. It could be an extra strategy session with you, or it could be if it's an e-commerce product, it could be buy 2 of these and get 1 free. So it'll just depend on what your service or product is. But this order bump process is really useful, and it will actually it's what's called expanding your shopping cart. But and again, it's a useful tool to expand what you can do with your audience. You can also do here what's called a one-time offer. So this is similar to an order bump in that it's offered on that when the person is making a purchase on that checkout page. But the one-time offer says this is only available today on this page for this price. Now, what I would say to you is these things definitely work, but be very careful about how you use them. I don't ever offer one-time offers unless I'm really clear that that's going to be a one-time offer, that I know I'm never going to offer that again, because again, I want to stay in integrity with myself and with my customers when I'm selling to them. So it's really important that one-time offer is only a one-time offer. There's nothing more galling than being offered this one-time offer and then seeing someone else is offering that same offer for the same price, elsewhere on their Facebook page or somewhere in their Facebook group. So it's really important to just have integrity around that. And then the important thing here is that the email just doesn't happen after the sales sequence doesn't finish there. It actually needs to continue after the sale. So this is what we call a fulfillment sequence. So this is where you actually want to thank the person and congratulate them on their decision. And this is really important from a psychological perspective. You really want to reinforce that the person has made a great decision that's going to actually help them move forward in their life or in their business or whatever it is that the solution that you're solving for them, that this is going to really help them. In this sequence, you can also show how others have had success with your work. So you could perhaps send a testimonial here and say, this is the experience, or this is the story of someone else who's been through my program. So this is, again, very useful psychological reinforcement Because what can sometimes happen after people buy, they can have what's called buyer's remorse, and we want to really deal with that in a way that's very much in integrity. So we're wanting to show how other people have been through our process and they've had success with that. And then the other thing we want to do from a courtesy perspective is really check in and see if they need any help at all with their purchase. So if they've got any questions with what you've offered, and so on and so forth. So always offering an email address or a support email address really helps here. So what's happening with our technology at this point? Well, your customers are going to be in a promotional and a sales sequence for your service your service or product. So again, you're going to be segmenting here. So those people who have bought will be tagged customer for that product. And then you can very clearly see, you can then look at the notes in your email autoresponder and say, okay, they bought this, this, and this. Maybe you can start drawing pictures about your clients. You say, okay, maybe they've bought these couple of things. Maybe what they would like to do is now access this part of my service offering. So you can then start making some decisions behind the scenes once you start building these pictures of your customers. So the important thing here is your customers are going to be in the sequence for this product, and you'll be working with them there and putting this tag of customer once they've bought from you. Now, a question I've had with emails, what do I do when people are not opening my emails? So what you want to do is you want to create a re-engagement sequence to either prompt sales or prompt re-engagement with you, or to clean up your list. And you probably, if you've been on an email list so far in your world online, you've probably been asked, if you haven't opened emails, you might have been sent these emails once in a while in terms of, are you interested to continue on? So what I would say here is be gentle in your reminders. I've had some re-engagement sequences sent to me where I've gone, whoa, that's really heavy. That is not the way I like to be spoken to. So again, it's around your style and tone. But I remember one particular, I was just like, oh, well, I really don't want to be on your list if this is the way you're talking to me now. So yeah, it was a very aggressive sort of reopen email. So my approach, and possibly I'm a bit more gentle, but be gentle in these reminders and be appropriate to your style, so that your tone could be along the lines of, we're missing you, we'd love to see you back. It could be something as simple as that. And then you could have 4 or 5 emails in this sequence that really helps them make a decision about whether or not they want to be with you or not. So in this re-onboarding sequence where they're making a decision about whether they want to be with you or not, you need to be offering more value again. You might offer a special deal. It could be a percentage off for a strategy session. It could be whatever it is that you're offering. It could just be something there that as a re-onboarding, they get to be part of that. And effectively we want to show them the love. We want to really show people that we care and we've got something of value to share with them. In this sequence, you could also ask again, what's bothering them most? What is it that's concerning them most? And this way you're going to start getting some more information about what is bothering them most. And you might actually unearth a whole new issue here that you didn't know about in terms of your audience. So it's about really working these questions through and developing the sequence. So here you're going to be segmenting your list again into lapsed customers and re-engaged customers, depending on what they do in the sequence. And you can build a sequence based on doing yes/no formulas. Again, I'm not going to get into great detail on that today, but you can put people into a sequence, and then if they do a particular action, you can move them down one arm. I'll actually just draw a picture of what that would look like. So I think this would be useful. So basically, this could be our email number 1. And they come down here, there's a yes/no point. Then yes, they then get into this sequence here, and no, they get into this sequence here. So you're going to, it's a good tool to start actually testing where people are at as well. Again, it's a more advanced strategy. It's not something that I expect you to need to be worrying about at this point, but I just wanted to let you know that technology capability is there, and it's something that you can do as you develop and grow your list. And as your list gets some age on it, after about 6 months, you'd want to be starting to think about disengagement levels and things like that. So that is really covering our sequence. There's one more point I wanted to just make there. So yes, once people have re-engaged, do tag them as re-engaged, and then really concentrate on offering them some special value over time. So treat them as special. They bothered to come back, so really show them some love. And what you might also find at this point is that as your business has progressed and grown, they may have missed some of that progress and some of that growth. So you may want to actually show them some of that growth and in that re-engagement sequence. And then again, you might offer them some special value there. So that's our sequences and that's our strategy. Now, what I'd like to share with you now is just this concept of email subject lines. It is really important to have email subject lines that really convert well for you. So what do powerful email subject lines look like? Well, from my experience, they need to be straightforward rather than flashy or too salesy. So that's very, very important. They need to speak to your audience, and they need to be, again, in your style and tone. So if you're a particular way, you don't want to come off as sounding like someone else, because it's, again, we lack this congruence with our audience. The really important thing with our email marketing is to be congruent every step of the way. So from our email subject lines to our email content to what we're delivering, and then the way we deliver that and the regularity with which we deliver that, it's really important to just have that nice congruence, to be in integrity with yourself and with your style and tone and with what your audience is looking for. So really look at headlines that are working for your audience. What are they opening? What are they not opening? And this is the next really important thing. It sounds really simple. Like, a lot of these things I'm sharing with you sound really simple, but I promise you they are issues and mistakes that people make and that I've heard people make. So I really want to share, some little common pitfalls that people can make. The next important thing is to make sure that your subject line is actually linked to the content of your email. If it is not, it will tick them off big time. And I've had that experience where I've opened an email and gone, oh, this has got nothing to do with this. So the reason that this annoys people is that because there's no linkage, there's no congruency from, you've got me in, you've got me in to open this email. Now, let me, I want to see the answer to that question that you posed in that email headline. And this is similar to, and we're trained to do this, because if you think about news headlines, so online news headlines, newspaper headlines, TV headlines, we are trained by the media, and rightly so, to look at a headline that's could be quite controversial or quite catchy, and that then pulls us in to read the story. And so imagine your email is actually like a little news story that you're sending to your audience. It's the same concept. So you need to have a catchy headline that then tags into what you're sharing, but just make sure that they're definitely congruent. So definitely have short subject lines, and the research and data shows that 6 to 10 words work best. And that's what the research continually shows. So keep it as small and keep it as short and as concise as you possibly can. And the other thing is, with your subject lines, speak the language of your list and be specific. And I probably should have these as 2 bullet points. Speak the language of the list, which I've already covered, but be really specific on your subject lines. So which would you rather lead? Which of these emails would you potentially open? Tips on wholesome nutrition for your new puppy, or best products for your pet? Now, if you're a new puppy owner, I know which one. If I'm a new puppy owner, I know which one that I would want to open up, because, I need to work out and make sure that my new puppy is healthy for the long term. So I will read that. So it could be, how to keep your puppy healthy long term. That would be a great email subject line for that as well. So I'm using a headline sequence there instead of just saying, best products for your pet. So what you also want to do is use power words in this subject line. So I'm going on the next slide. I'm going to just share with you the power words that research has shown people open on. Again, I would say to you, select the power words that support you and that are relevant to you. Don't just think because it's on this list that you should use it. Again, it's relevant to your style. And then something that is very much used these days, which I really find very useful myself, is to use brackets to draw attentions to words at the beginning. So it could be free gift, it could be workshop reminder, it could be easy tips. But basically, we're highlighting in the email subject line there. So it could be free gift, or it could be workshop reminder, email 101, which is one you got today. Workshop reminder, email 101 starts in an hour. So I'm just trying to, and by using the brackets and the uppercase, I'm actually trying to jump out of your email list, because I'm assuming you've all had lots of emails already today, and I would like my emails to stand out for you. So this is, again, a great tool that you can use. Again, we don't want to overuse it, but I do generally in my email subject lines, I use this technique because I find it does help with my open rates. So these power words, what are some of these power words that people are using and liking? So invitation, introducing, we, your, you. So look how that's all about the audience. The year, so it could be 2018 updates, 2018 trends, update, new. We all love new things that are new. This is, again, part of the newsworthiness process that we're trained into with the media. Could be a month, so it could be January 18 resolutions or January 18 specials, news, sale, and events. So we can see here, these are the things that people are opening on. Again, you might want to tailor these words to work in with your subject lines, but the key thing here is really making sure that that you're using words that are relevant and really key to your audience. Oh, and offer. So people love an offer and free offer. The word free is also very good. So what I'm going to do now is jump into the bonus email sequence, that introductory sequence that I wanted to share with you. And I'm also wanting to share with you the sequence builder template. So we'll do that, and then we'll move into a brief walkthrough of just what a sequence looks like in ActiveCampaign. I just want to show you what that looks like, and then we'll come to questions. So, and I'll also just be checking in the chat if you've got questions as you've been going on. Please just put your questions in the chat, and I can answer those at the end. So we'll basically run through the sequence now, run through the sequence builder, look at the do the walkthrough, and then we'll come to questions. So that sounds good. So I'll just come out of there, and we'll come into and I'll just stop my share just for 1 second, and I'll just look at the chat there for a minute. I want to see questions we've got. Okay, great. Okay, and so now I'll just open up my documents that I want to show you. A little bit of a moment while I just grab that. So I might just pause. So let's now just take a quick look at these couple of documents that I've got for you, and these are resources that come with this workshop. So the first one is our swipe file, and this intro just covers that swipe file. I might just reduce my sizing here a bit so we can see a bit more on the page. But basically this really just, I've covered this already. Please, please, please just use this as a guide only. I really would love it to see you using your own language and style, and then you can then tailor this as you see fit. So our first email is our welcome sequence. So this is a sequence when people are coming in. Now, one thing for people who are quite new, if you've not seen this before, this is just the little tool that your email autoresponder uses to say that that's their name. It picks up their name. So that's pretty much standard in terms of how a first name is presented.
Ben, I can't see the screen.
Oh.
Are you supposed to be sharing?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let me just go back to Zoom. Oh, I love the technology. Let me go back to the beginning on that. Thank you very much, Jane. So let's go back to our PDF. So here it is, the PDF that I was sharing. So the intro there, please just make your words your own. Then come into your first email, which is really around, looking here at introducing, your opt-in that you've sent. So this item here that I said, the first name is is a very standard element in every email autoresponder. This is the tool that picks up their name. So it would be hi Jane, hi Jen. So this needs to be written into that email, and then the autoresponder picks up the name from the database. So that's just to explain that. So you say, thank you for requesting my, whatever it is your opt-in was. So remember, our first stage in sequences, when we're first getting people on board, we're probably sending them something for free. So here you would say that, and you can click here to access your download or gift. So, and then do a hyperlink to your download. And again, your email autoresponder will show you how to do that. Then what you need to do here in this email is then say this will, and insert the benefits that it will bring to people. So this is really important. Remember I said earlier, you've got to congratulate people for being a part of your process, and also highlight the benefits of what you can do for them. So, and then you also want to, here is just something about being excited about them coming to get something from you. So again, your words here, truly excited is what I would use, but it's up to you in terms of what you would use. So again, what we then do here is we then move into reinforcing the benefits of that person working with you, and the similarities to you. So for example, if you found your way, and these are actually words from my, you'll see these words in my documents, but I use the words, if you found your way here, it's likely you're so kind of person who wants to, whatever their desire is. And this is a really important thing to reinforce, that you understand their issues and what they really want in life. So this is around creating the relationship and the resonance with them. So you'd say, I am too, and that's why I created this, whatever the opt-in is, because I, and then whatever it is that you do. So it's really paint by numbers, but I find this is very important to just reinforce to them, oh, I'm in the right place. What this is really saying is, oh, I got my thing, thank you. That's delivery, number one, building trust. Number two, oh, I'm in the right place. This person actually understands who I am and what I'm looking for. So then what we want to do, but we want to do more in this email than just that. We want to also encourage them to become part of our community wherever we are online here. And then we also want to tell them that we're going to be communicating with them. So to get access to more, and again, these are my words, to get access to more goodness like this, more goodness like whatever my download was, join and it could be if you've got a Facebook group or like my Facebook page or wherever you want to take people. But we want a call to action where they can get to know you better and more instantaneously, which is where your again your email, which is where, you know, wherever it is that you want people to get to know you. So if it's Facebook or whatever. So, and then you'll explain what the benefit is for them to go there. So where there is, you know, a lot of interaction, more strategies and support, all of that sort of thing. You would also at this point just ask them to connect with you here on your other social profiles. So it could be on Facebook, personal Facebook page, could be Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest. All of these things are going to be relevant to you and what you're doing. And if you don't want people to come on your personal Facebook page, then don't. But I would say to you, if you're thinking on or planning on getting a Facebook group up in the future, I would have them become your friend on Facebook, because then when they're your friend on Facebook, you can then invite them to come to your group. You can add them. Not that I would suggest adding them directly, but you can put a message out to all of your Facebook friends about that. The other thing that you can do, that we need to do in this email, so this is a very important email, this first one, because this is the one that they're most likely to read because they're getting their thing from you. The next thing here that we want to do is we want to actually welcome them to your community. So as part of your community, this is where you're setting up the expectation that you're going to be emailing them regularly. This is really, really, really important that you set this expectation up and you say this very clearly up front. You also at this point want them to enter your email address and put your address in there into your address or contacts list and mark them as important so you can always receive the emails. Now this is really important because many people are using Gmail now, and Gmail will automatically put any business website emails into the promotions folder. It will not go into the primary folder. So this is a really, really important thing to do. And you're actually saying here, you know, ending up in the spam folder would make me sad. And a final thing here, you could ask them what is the biggest challenge they're facing right now. And you could say challenge in your business, in your life, whatever it is that you're dealing with. Again, and you can ask them to send an email. Not many people will take you up on this, but a few will, and that'll be really nice to get that interaction from them. And then you can really start having a conversation with them. Now, there's a couple of PSs here. PSs do work in email marketing, and so we do have them. Here, what I'm also, with this first PS, is we're setting up that they're reminding them that they're going to be getting some interesting information from us in the next few days or next week. And you again can put in your time frame here. It's up to you. So to thank you for subscribing, I'm going to be sending you some of my favorite whatevers to help you, and again, the major benefit or solution that they're looking for. So this doesn't have to be a whole lot of, this could be blogs that you've got, it could be a checklist, it could be whatever it is. So it's up to you. Our second PPS is again a call to action to go where you really want them to go to meet with you socially online. And again, have a join here button and you hyperlink that. And then our final PPS, and I do put this in because I feel like I want people to be really clear that if they prefer not to receive the blogs and updates, they can unsubscribe. So I'm being really clear about that. Every email autoresponder will have in the bottom of the email an unsubscribe button as well. And I've debated with people about whether or not this PPS is important. From my perspective, I like to have it there because then I'm being really upfront with people. And I have had I've had very few. I would have had a couple of non-subscriptions after people got that first email from me. So don't be afraid of putting that in there. For me, it actually demonstrates that I'm a trustworthy and transparent person. And if you really just wanted to get that email and you don't want to continue on with me, that's okay too. So that's our very first email in the sequence. Our second email in the sequence is delivering some of those valuable resources that you promised. And you can decide the time frame. It could be the next day. I would recommend the next day, maybe a 2-day break, then another couple, then the third email. But basically, this one is just delivering that second resource. So you can explain and the benefits and the value of that resource to them. And now what I've done in here is I've actually left in the words that I use in one of my emails, because this shows you, it's just, I guess, easier for you to see a template of how it's written. But basically, I'm highlighting here, it's about you and it's about me encouraging you and giving you the tools and to take some time to think about what you really want out of your business. So these are words that I do use in my email sequence. And then I put this paragraph in because I think this is a bit of a getting to know you paragraph. It gives a point of view, and it really reinforces the benefit of what I can bring. So and this is my point of view. I strongly believe that if you're going to have a business and life you love, then your business needs to be truly aligned with your sense of who you are and your life purpose. If you're not aligned with your business at a soul level, then it will become very hard for you to keep the energy up for your business when the going gets tough. Between you and me, that's why so many small businesses fail. So, and then to help you explore this, I wanted to share a very special thing with you, blah, blah, blah. Now, that for me is important because I'm actually saying to my person on my email list, this is what I'm about. Here's my point of view, and this is what I'm about. And if you're not into thinking about things at that deeper level, if you're not into alignment, if you're not into purpose-driven stuff, then maybe I'm not your person. So I'm really just signaling here, this is who I am, and I'm really very clearly saying this is who I am. If you like that stuff, continue on. But I'm building my know, like, and trust with people as well. So I've kept that in so you can see really clearly how you could do that for yourself. Again, this could be, this will be tailored absolutely to your needs. So you put in the link, hyperlink that, and then you would reinforce a statement about that gift. So, for example, my statement is running your own business is an exciting journey, and it becomes even more powerful, more successful, and more life-changing when it's aligned with your own sense of self and purpose. Because I'm giving away here a values exercise, a values elicitation exercise. That's what I'm actually giving away. So with love, myself. And then the PS, we've only got one PS on this email, and it's please just, if you want to keep in touch with what's going on in my world to help you do what you want to do, to help you do X, then join my whatever it is that you want them to join. So that's our email number 2. Email number 3 is basically reinforcing. I hope you enjoyed that bonus extra yesterday that focused on whatever it was. Our theme, if you've got it, and you might select a theme for this series of emails. So I think I use a theme of alignment. So a theme of alignment continues today with and whatever it is that you're sending. Here's your link to it, and I hope you enjoy this. Please email me if you've got any questions, and then a sign off again that's relevant to you. So by this stage, I'm actually signing off with love because I've revealed, I'm someone who believes in that sort of stuff. Now, this next point is really important. This is where you can start to share something about yourself and where they can start to get an insight into your life. And this is, again, when we're building know, like, and trust, when we don't have, say, access to it. I mean, you could actually put a little video in here if you wanted, but for simplicity's sake and to keep things really simple, I would recommend just putting in a little paragraph like this and a picture of yourself that's relevant. So, but it needs to be related to what you've talked about in that email. So on the topic of, my theme was alignment, which is one of my favorites, I just had to share this picture with you. And then you would insert the relevant picture and an explanation for it. You just wouldn't say, here's a picture of me. You would put an explanation. So my explanation was, here's my husband Saurabh and I came upon this gorgeous monk seal after snorkeling on a beach on Kauai, Hawaii last year. To me, this picture sums up perfect alignment. This precious being was completely relaxed and aligned in her environment. She was exactly where she needed to be, doing what she needed to do. And she didn't mind who was watching. Would you like that for you and your business? So you see, I'm connecting that understanding of, that's a personal picture. It's actually just a picture of me and the seal. Saurabh didn't want to be in the picture. And then basically I'm then reinforcing that, this is what people want, that people want to be able to shine their light in the world, and they want to get to a point where they don't care who's watching, which is where the seal was at. And I'm connecting that to what I can do for you and your business. So that's that email there. It's a very important email to bring in some of that personal touch and to reinforce that. Email number 4 is then really our final email in this sequence. You could do another one if you wanted, but I think this was long enough. So during the last few days, you've received 2 gifts. So insert the whatever those gifts were. plus the picture of me on the beach with the seal. If you miss those, you might want to do a quick search in your inbox for the subject lines and bringing those down here. Now, and I've said if you thought those were great, then I've saved the best for last, and then whatever the final offering is. And then if it's a blog post, you can say this is without doubt one of the most popular posts I've ever released, and so I know you'll love it too. You are in, so whatever it is their personal why is. So for example, you're in business for a reason, to bring your goodness to the world and truly make a difference to people around you. So take advantage of these gifts I'm sharing. Use properly. They will truly transform your business. So I'm not doing any ask here. I'm literally just highlighting value. I do have a couple of PPSs here, and they are just reinforcing what's already happened in the sequence, which was, P.S. if you like what you've seen, then I've got good news. I'm going to be regularly speaking with you. So that's just reminding them what I said in the first email, which was, you're going to be on my regular email list. Second PPS is to remind them to whitelist my email address. Whitelist is just a term it's used in the industry. Actually, I probably wanted to take it out of here, but you just need to make sure you put my email address in your address book. So, and I again reinforce it in Gmail. You need to move my emails to your primary folder and mark them as important. And then PPS, also make sure you're a member of my group, following me on blah, 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 because I also announce new content updates on these platforms. And again, I don't want you to miss out. So join me on wherever the most important place is for you. You want them to be there. Now, and then I'll just put this final note here is please make sure your automation now puts the recipient onto your regular emailing list. So that's a walkthrough of the intro email sequence. So you could literally start writing these emails today, and you could start onboarding people. Once you've got your opt-in, you can start onboarding people. So it's I really designed this to be as plug and play for you as you possibly can. Now, the other thing that I wanted to share was the sequence builder template. So this is just a template. I will actually provide it to you. I'll provide it to you as a PDF, and basically you can then just duplicate these pages, or you can create tables of your own. But the sequence is basically what you can do is, if you're planning a range of email sequences, you can literally just put the title of the sequence up the top. So sequence number 1, the name of the sequence, and then I like to put here, what is the goal of my sequence? So that every email that I'm writing in this sequence is, I'm very key and I'm very focused on that goal. So in this sequence, I want them to subscribe. That would be my goal. So whatever your goal is for that sequence. So if you're developing a new course, or you're wanting to sell a new course, it could be goal for them to opt into your course, or to buy your course. So then you've got your email numbers down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you could make this longer. You could put in your title of your email, so what the actual message what your email subject line will be. Put that in there. What are the details? So here you can just jot down, bullet point some ideas. You don't have to write the whole email here. It's just you're seeing what you would say in which email in your sequence. So just jot some bullet points there. What is the time frame that you're going to put into the autoresponder in terms of your what's going to happen when? So it could be first day, day 2, 2 days after that, 3 days after that, 3 days after that. You can also put in conditions in ActiveCampaign. You can also put in conditions like wait until the 10th of January at 10 a.m. and then send this email. So again, you can put those conditions in. Then you would just put your email copy status, so written, in draft, whatever. Then you would just note here, yes, it's gone into my automation. Have I tested it? And I recommend you always test your emails. Always send yourself the test email when it gives you the opportunity to send a test. Please do, because you'll pick up little typos. And then just you can tick delivered when it's gone. But the key thing here, the thing that I like about this sequence builder template is that you can just you can take 10 minutes and just map your emails out that you would like to send for your indoctrination, but I've already given the indoctrination sequence, but for other sequences. And then it's much easier for you to then just go ahead and then start preparing those emails. Because I know sometimes people, I wanted to share, I guess, with your little mindset tip here. I know sometimes people go, oh my God, setting up my emails, it's too big a job. I need to wait till I've got half a day to do that. Can I say to you, my experience has been when I have waited for half a day to do something, then it doesn't happen. So the idea of this sequence builder template is that you can spend 10 minutes just mapping out your sequence, what you think should go in each email, And then you can leave that and then come back the next day and perhaps write then email number 1, and then the following day email number 2. And that's doing what I'm sharing with you there, what's called the 10-minute rule. And I had a beautiful boss many, many years ago, a beautiful woman called Sue, and she told me about the 10-minute rule. And I'd like to share that with you now. So the 10-minute rule is where you say to yourself, if you've got a big job, or if you've got your to-do list and there's lots of things on your to-do list and you just think, I'm never getting to those things at the bottom, I never get to those things. What you do is you say to yourself, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes doing this. I'm just going to spend 10 minutes writing this email sequence. I'm just going to spend 10 minutes doing whatever that job is. And then what you'll find is you're saying to your psychology, don't worry, I only need to spend 10 minutes, then we can go and do something more fun. But then what you'll find is that once you've actually gotten into doing the task for the 10 minutes, you're actually in flow. You can actually then continue on and do those other things. So that's why I really recommend this, because it's just such a powerful tool to just help you get going. And when you're writing emails and when you're thinking about doing your emails, it can feel very big. I'm hoping after today it doesn't feel so overwhelming. But if it does, just remember the beautiful 10-minute rule. Because it really, I can promise you it works. I've used it so much and it's really, really powerful. And the 10-minute rule combined with this sequence builder, you'll be cooking with gas. I absolutely promise you. So that is what I wanted to share with you there. I'm just going to pause now as I just set up for the walkthrough. So I'm just going to just pause the share, and I'm also just going to pause our recording. Alrighty, so now I just wanted to do a quick. I'm just going to give a quick overview of how to do an automation in ActiveCampaign. I'm just going to show you. So in ActiveCampaign, an email sequence is called an automation. In other email autoresponders, it could be called an email sequence. It could be called a campaign itself. So just know that with each autoresponder, there is going to be some different terminology. And that's why I haven't focused today's workshop so much on how to use X autoresponder, because there are many on the market, and there are, it's going to be depending on which ones you like to use, which ones perhaps you're already using, and so on. But what I thought would be useful would be to show you, because we've been talking a lot about email sequences, I just wanted to show you in ActiveCampaign how you can do it and how you can actually they've got recipes. They call them recipes for sequences. So I quite like these. And look, I do use and I do recommend ActiveCampaign because it is so visual. It's so easy for me to use. And it's and compared to a couple of the others that I've used, it's I think it's well priced and has a lot of power for the price. I've used more expensive ones, and this has got a whole lot of value for it. So if we look here, I've just gone to create what's called a new automation. You could start from scratch if you wanted, or they've got recommended, and you'll see over here they've got all sorts of different styles. So this is a very good tool that you can use to really boost your business. Again, and I'm going to say to you, I don't use a lot of these tools, but I just want to show you that there are things in here that you can use. So you could start from scratch. You could do a follow-up of a product. You could look at tagging. So when people are interacting with campaigns, they're tagged as engaged. So if they get 30 days of engagement, they actually get some points in the system. Now, remember I mentioned a banner cart reminder. So you can actually set one of those up in your sales sequence. Upgrade incentives. So there's upsells, all sorts of things. So all sorts of things that you can do. But what we might do today, because again, we've got basically... there's heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps of options here. So here we've got one send you blog post. So when your blogger's feed is updated, it'll just grab the post and put it into the campaign for you. So, and customer win back sequence. So this is about re-engaging. So your email autoresponder, if it's a good one, will give you support in these processes. But let's just do a new one. I just want to show you a very basic one. We'll continue. So we're selecting start from scratch. Whoops. And we'll just continue. And literally, the first step when we start an automation is how do we start it? And there's different ways to start an email. So someone might click a link in an automation, or if typically with our opt-in, they're going to subscribe to a list. So we'll just go subscribe to a list, continue. It's literally drag and drop, and then we could just pull a list. They might go to, they might have subscribed to this list, and this is only going to run once. So we just go add start. So there you go. they have started that. Now, then I get to I get to basically put some options in. So here I've talked about tagging people. So what I do is I'm going to add a tag to a contact. So here I could put in tag, I could put in, let's put in the tag lead. Oops, I'm uppercase, so let's put it in uppercase, so lowercase. So lead, so they go into my lead list. So they're tagged. That's how easy it is, an active campaign. That's how easy it is. Then I'm wanting to, basically, then I want to start sending them an email. So I just go sending options. I want to send them an email. So you can create an email to get started. So we just call that a name. We'll just call it welcome. Create. And basically you can then go in and write that email. I won't go into the whole process of that. I was going to gives me my campaign options, so I can build from scratch, or I can use one of their templates. So we might just use that design there. So we'll say, welcome to workshop. Welcome to workshop. And you'll see it's pulling up other things that I've written over time. And then you'll see here that it's actually giving me the campaign that I've used before. So we'll just go save and exit, because we don't want to get into writing the email at this point. You'll see there I put an image. Now that's a good question that people might ask. You've got an image there. Have you got them in all of your emails? I actually made a decision a little while ago not to. I was looking at some research around email marketing, and it said make your emails as simple as possible. A, to reduce download times, but B, people actually respond better to emails that look like other business emails that they get. So if we put too many pretty pictures in them, make them look too fancy, then people go, oh, that's too much for me. So we've sent the email. Now we might want to wait a couple of days in our sequence. So what I do is I go conditions and workflow, and I press wait. So I might wait for a specified period of time. So I might wait for, let's say, 2 days. I press save. And then I might say I might wait until specific conditions are met. So I get to choose a condition here. So I generally condition for me, I will choose on date and time. So let's say current day of the week is today's Wednesday, so we'll make it Thursday. Add another condition. The date and time, we'll say current time is, let's say, I like to send emails earlier in the morning so that we're in people's inboxes, say at 6 a.m., particularly if we're on daylight saving here, 6 a.m. And then I might want to put in another condition, and it could be, again, I can choose the month is January. So, and then I would then put in Thursday, and then I would also put in here the date. Oops, and the date is, my date and time. Current day of the month is, we'll say 11. That's my son's birthday, so you go save. So there's a couple of different options. So you can see there, and in the sequence, we'll just press save. So you remember back when I was showing you the email sequence, I was making a decision, I was saying 2 days. You could literally just put in 2 days. And that's what I do for my onboarding sequences. I don't put any of this date and time material in. But if I'm doing a promotion for a program, a free workshop or a paid workshop, it's generally going to be time-based. Say if I'm offering a workshop, I will then put in the times here. And then if I'm offering a workshop, I'll put in reminders. And if you've received emails from me, which it's likely that you have by now, you'll get a reminder, workshop's on today at 10 a.m. Then you'll get a reminder, workshop starts in an hour, and so on. So you're getting those regular reminders. The other thing here is we would just put the name of our test automation. So we'll put in the name of our automation here. So we'll just call it test automation, because it's literally just that, but I just press save, and then that goes into my automation list. And then I can prepare another email. I can also put in my if else. So I can split the automation so if the condition, so we might say if contact details is not, and then we'll put in the tag, not customer. And then you go, okay. And then you're putting in these options. And then you'll see here, I'm getting a yes, they are, if they're not, and then I then can put in my new email. So that's as simple as it is to build a sequence. But I would be saying for you starting out, if you're starting out, you would just want a straight sequence. I wouldn't be bothering putting in any of these yes, no options. But if you want to get fancy and if you like tech, then you could go right ahead on that. Now, that's what I wanted to cover there. Now, the other thing in Active Campaign is we've got our list of contacts, which gives us details of all of our contacts. We've got, you can click on that tab and see your contact list. In campaigns, these are separate emails. So in Active Campaign, a separate email that is not attached into an automation is called a campaign. Terminology, a little bit confusing, but that's what it is. Then we have our automations, and then more advanced work, which I don't want to get into today is deals. Then we also have our email lists. This is where we can see our different lists. We can also create forms in Active Campaign. Again, this is a advanced activity that I don't think you need to worry about right now, and reports. So you can see, you can view emails, you can view contacts in a campaign. So there's many, many things you can do in Active Campaign. When you're ready to go live with this campaign, you will just press active and then it's ready to go live. But I'm just going to press inactive because I've put in a list that would make no sense to people on that list to get those things. So that is a brief walkthrough of Active Campaign. I wanted to just show you that, but I wanted this class to be email agnostic. I wanted to show you what a sequence looked like. That's how I would build it in Active Campaign, that you'll be able to do that in your own autoresponder. I will put a link for you to get a 30 days free of Active Campaign if you would like it in the workshop PowerPoint that will be saved as part of this workshop delivery, so you can get that. But that's the overview. Again, I think go with the email autoresponder. If you're working with one already, then go with that one. If you are thinking you're starting out and you'd like to try something, if you want something for free, I would like to say that MailChimp is typically the free go-to. And I actually never used it. I went straight to a paid platform because my coach at the time said, really, MailChimp doesn't have enough power for what we want to do. But if you are starting out, then start with MailChimp, and then when it starts to look like it's wanting to charge you money, then move to Active Campaign. And one of my clients has done that, and she really has found the change really good. But again, it's really up to you. So